Hey guys, Ralph here, True Power Trumpet Fitness, and welcome to terrific Thursday. Anyway, let's get right to it. You saw the thumbnail. Compression! A student of mine is trying out for the pit band for the show later in the year. They're doing Fiddler on the Roof, so we were going over some of that stuff. So I have a little Fiddler on the Roof on the brain. Anyway, I've not played yet today. That's not unusual for me, as you know. So, but this I'm doing it for a reason. Okay, so let's see where the chops stand, and we will take it from there. All right. Double C's as big as a house, a little bit of Arbin, and a little bit of James Stamp. It's been a long time since I've opened up that book, but so be it. Now let me explain. Guys, any book or teacher that's trying to teach you chops, and does not talk about compression, run the other way. Throw away the book, try to get your money back, sell it to some unsuspecting schlub for half price. Okay? Run the other way. If you're in a workshop and somebody's telling you about chops and you got to do all these warm-ups and mouthpiece stuff and all that sort of thing, just let yourself out quietly. Let yourself out the back door. If you're paid for a lesson and somebody's talking about chops and they don't mention compression, try to divert them over to somebody else. Can we work on some excerpts and put this for another? Because it's wasting your time. If you're not talking about compression, you are not talking about chops. Now, let me in on a little story. And I've told it in bits and pieces in the past, but when I was studying with Vacchiano, I used to put all volumes and volumes of my music in a duffel bag, like a gym bag, okay? Big duffel bag. I would put it over my shoulder with my gig bag and everything. Trape all over New York City with everything I own on my back. And one day, I would bring it, and I'd always dump it on the floor right between my Vacchiano and myself. And I'd open it up. And he'd take a look at it. What are we doing today, boss? He'd take a look at it. One day, Charles Cullen Lip Flexibility was on the front top. I know I told you this before, if you don't remember. So I might throw that away. Really? Throw it away. I said, why? He said, Salma, did you ever hear him play? At that point, I had heard him play. Enough said. He was an elderly gentleman. When I heard him, I thought maybe in his prime, not so much. Okay, so he took out a stack of books. Took that one off the top, took out a stack of books. He's running through it. The next one up was Caruso. Salma, throw this away. Very dignified. Just what I am supposed to do. Salma, throw this away. No, not so much. Salmon, have you ever heard him play? And I said, no. He says, nobody's heard him play. He's not a trumpet player. Throw it away. All right, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. James Stamp, I was surprised at this. Somebody throw this away. I said, really? Why? Same reason. Okay, now, to be fair to all of them, Vacchione had many reasons why he wanted it done a certain way. One of them was for no other reason that he was the king. In a very old Italian approach, you do what I tell you, not what some other guys tell you. Okay? Now, James Stamp, never met him, never studied with him, just looked, just browsed through the book. Okay? But I did not see anything about compression. Not a whole lot about physiology, if anything. A little about the opening the aperture, which is not what you should be thinking about. So in that regard, I guess I'm glad he saved me the trouble, Vacchione. But guys, if they are not talking about compression, and I don't mean to single these guys out. The only reason I'm singling these guys out is because everybody knows the methods that I'm talking about. Okay? And if they are not talking about compression, they are wrong. Okay? Now, I'm giving James Stamp a pass. Again, 17 years with the Minnesota Symphony principal trumpet, then goes out and had some fun in the studios and whatnot. I mean, obviously he could play a little bit. I mean, was he better than Caruso? Hell yeah. Nobody's ever heard Caruso play the trumpet. He played the saxophone. That I heard, and that was not a pretty sight. Anyway, I'm getting off the track. And I'm sure that James Stamp could give you a multitude of wisdom about playing in the orchestra and, studios and music and all that. Fine musician, wonderful. Okay? Now, but for a warm-up book, we don't need 30 minutes to warm up. That is a waste of time. I understand that he did a lot of mouthpiece work. I'll get to that tomorrow. Fabulous Friday. We'll clean it right up. Okay, there was no reason to warm up. Now, here's the deal, and I've said many, many times before. If you are addicted to these books like I am, Arben. Now, that's another thing. That's the thing. Don't get me. I said when you're talking about chops, Arben is my Bible. Doesn't say one thing about compression. So, Rob, I don't use Arben necessarily for chops. I'm using that for the music. It's very, very trumpet-like. It sits well in my registers. It sits well in my timbre and all that sort of stuff. And I use my true power, my compression, and add it to the music. And here's my point. If you want to use those three books and add the truth power concepts to them, bingo, knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. But you do not need them to develop chops. Now, all three guys that I just mentioned, and many of the other guys that have written books, could not do that, what I just did, and certainly not as a warm-up. Yet I can do all the Stamp stuff. Again, that was a reasonable facsimile thereof. I haven't seen the book in 40 years. So, but, guys, long tones by themselves do not build chops. And Caruso, they can all tell you what they want. They do not build chops. Correct taste placement of the tongue, compression with the lower lip, that's what builds chops. And it's that if you want to add those notes to it, those routines, go ahead. But make sure. Okay? And we will talk about that. False alarm. We will talk about the spit buzzing as opposed to the mouthpiece buzzing tomorrow. All right? With that said, eat and drink fruits and vegetables and live your life with true power. 1,